West Coast beats banging.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am Talia Tees and welcome to the table. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 13. So please stop what you're doing, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you always know when Talia is dropping that tea. So let's go ahead and get talkative. So we open up in Mia's house and we see her and her cute little small children, Juju and Jeremiah, and she's getting packed for the trip that all the ladies are going to be going on. And this is their first time leaving the children with her mother. So she does have a little bit of apprehension, and even little Jeremiah starts crying because he just says he just loves his mama so much and he don't want to stay with grandma, and it's just so cute and sweet. But they end up leaving the room, and Gordon expresses that, he's not necessarily interested in going out with a bunch of people that he doesn't really know. But he is excited because they haven't had, a chance in quite a while to go out. He said it hadn't been since like 2019 since they did something. So he's ready to turn up. Now, Mia lets us know that Gordon really doesn't like couples trips because he's not really the type of guy that likes dealing with other couples and their shit. But he always ends up having a real good time. So she's like, I don't know why he's fronting. But then Mia goes on to tell Gordon about, that party at Giselle's house and how, it started to kind of take a turn for the worst when Candace decided to call her mother low budget. And G really didn't like that either. He, in fact, said, oh, hell no. But, she just basically let it be known. She says something again about her mom, it's probably going to be a fight. So over at Candace's house, we see her and Chris eating. And I just got to say, they are really wearing out the word charcuterie. Now, I am so proud of them for knowing what that is called, because a lot of people don't know, and those that do, they don't even pronounce it right. But I mean, every episode we get a damn charcuterie, and it's usually Candace. I'm sick of it. But anywho, Candace, she asked Chris, is it drinking time? And Chris says, ain't it always? And damn well Chris is going to think that, because we always see him with a drink. More times than not. So Candace gets to talking about her music career, and, they get to mentioning how, the video and all its treatments are almost done, so it's on its way back. But Candace really wants to try to get signed so she can get a distribution deal, and also just that push, the connections, so she can really, blow up and become a real entertainer. She feels that she's bearing her soul, even her areolas, and what little bitty one she probably has. But she says she's going extremely hard and is just hoping for that breakthrough. So then she moves on and starts telling Chris about Giselle's party. And she let Chris know that, Mia had asked her mother if he was being paid and if he was on the payroll. So she says that Mia says she wasn't asking it in a shady way. But Chris is like, there's really no other way to ask a question like that other than dripped in shade. So Candace goes on to say that, she told her that the video was low budget, and I told her that her mom was low budget. And you could just see Chris's face like, no. Like, why did you say that? But Candace goes on to say that she thinks Mia always wants to kind of say somebody's intimidated by her. Anytime she's in a confrontation with someone, it always gets brought back to the fact that, you are just jealous of me because I'm better than you. But Candace goes on to say that, baby, we ain't intimidated by that big old leaky booty, them big old leaky fake lips, your botched clitoris. Who's intimidated by them big old feet? But Candace, you might want to be intimidated because little Monique didn't even have them big hands, and she was wearing you. Never mind. So Candace just, in conclusion, feels like she's projecting her insecurities on her. So then they move on to Wendy's couples trip. And, Chris says that he hopes that Ascale's husband come, and they flash to a little meeting that they had together. And he said he really hit it off with her husband. So he's hoping that he makes it because, other husbands he doesn't get along with too well with. And then they flash back to Robin and Juan's holiday party last year, where him and Michael nearly set it off in this mug. So we see Ashley showing up at Robin's house with baby Dylan in tow. And Ashley said that, she really likes the townhouse that they're currently in. But, Robin says that they honestly thought that they would be in the new house by now. And she's honestly outgrown the townhouse and she's ready. But she's thinking it should be about 2 months out. So we'll see. So then again, they start talking about this damn party, this reasonably shady party. And Ashley mentioned that, she felt like Candace just came to that party completely turned up and just on 10. And what was even more surprising is just the way that she went at Mia's mom. So Robin reveals to her that, Mia's mom actually is working towards sobriety. And they're still currently trying to work on a relationship together. And Ashley, her mouth just drops because, she knows, Candace, if you have any kind of a soul, you are going to feel very shitty once you find out that you've been going in on this girl's mom. But anywho, we find out that Giselle replied to the group thread in reference to Wendy's invitation to the North Shore. So Giselle basically says that due to the rudeness in which she was invited with, she will not be joining them. And, Wendy, she said she's Zen Wen. So she replied to her and said, despite everything that happened, the invitation is still open to everyone. So Robin jumps on the bandwagon and says, thank you all for coming to the Reasonably Shady party and enjoy your trip. Just really letting it be known that she's not coming. Oh, Robin. So then we move on and we see the Osefos. We see the cute little family and Eddie comes home while Wendy's packing for the trip. And he's looking all good. He's got that fresh lining and whatnot. And he said, he's trying to get it right and tight for the weekend. So Eddie, he asks who all is coming on the trip. And Wendy lets him know that, some people said that they were not coming because of the way that the, invite was provided. They, it just wasn't to their liking. But Wendy did continue to explain how the rest of the text thread went and how basically, Robin concluded it by saying she wouldn't be there. Back over at Robin's house, Ashley expresses that she would really like it if she would come. But, Robin says she doesn't feel comfortable around Wendy because she can't be herself. She doesn't like it when, she's being cold and dismissive. And at this point, she just really doesn't know what to do with her. So at this point, they're not going and it ain't no turning back, but your ass gonna get there. So at Karen's house, we see all the beautiful Louis Vuitton luggage all sprawled out, and her and Ray are just kind of giving each other their goodbye. She's telling them not to burn the house down. So Ray asked, where's Ashley? And, also he wanted to know if Juan or Michael was going to be there. And, Karen, she didn't even give no shade. She was like, you know what? I don't think so. I didn't hear anything. But we all know they ain't never there. So Ashley shows up and she looks really cute. She looks really, really cute and fresh and not just doing too much, because sometimes Ashley just really likes to take the tacky train. But Ray goes on to help the ladies get the luggage into the car, and they give a cute little smooch on the way out. But Ray let the ladies know that they will see him again tomorrow. He just found out about it a little late, but he is going to be joining them. So that's what's up. So Eddie and Wendy, they arrive at the Eastern Shore, and it looks absolutely beautiful. It's breathtaking. I kind of want to go. But unfortunately, Wendy did not secure her wig, and it almost blows away in the wind as they get out the car. So we see a nice little overview of the home, which again is lovely. There's 7 bedrooms in the house. Now, Wendy says that means that someone's going to have to share, but, she didn't want to relegate anyone to a cottage. She really wanted to make sure that everyone could be under one solid roof. And I think that is absolutely awesome, because that was some BS with Candace's trip where she separated the ladies. It's like you already kind of starting it off on the wrong foot when you do that. So kudos to Wendy. So Mia and Gordon are the first to arrive, and Gordon is literally already turned up. He gets out the car waving his keys, hollering for valet, and obviously no one responds because there's no one there. So they get in the house and they greet each other. Gordon then, he makes a little joke, hands his keys to Eddie, and he's like, yeah, my bags are in the car. You can go and get my stuff. And we just get to see that G is just absolutely hilarious. This man has no freaking filter. So they make their way to the bar and they start pouring shots. Okay. And Wendy declares that, this trip is going to be all about GVO, good vibes only. So Mia tells them that, there's different layers to Gordon. At home, he's like a sweet teddy bear. But whenever they out on vacation, he turns into G. So Mia lets Eddie and Wendy know that basically this is their first time leaving their kids with her mother and that she's newly sober. So she goes on to really kind of open up a little bit more about the situation with her mother. And Wendy, her mouth drops. She's just like floored. But she says that she feels touched, that she felt comfortable enough to share that with her. And Wendy kind of makes a little bit of a connection to the issues with Candace and her. So Mia, to a degree, agrees with her because she does say that, the things that Candace does and says to her mother are things that she absolutely would never do. And she just really thinks Candace is a spoiled brat. So we see Karen and Ashley. They're riding down the highway. And, of course, Ashley's got her boobs out, pumping milk. But Karen mentions how, she's actually surprised that she's stepping away from the kids because as we see, she's always got them near and dear. And Karen makes this little joke saying, I guess that placenta must have really helped. So Karen and Ashley, they start talking about, how she's been planning her wedding, vow renewal service by herself. And, basically she says she's in a space of inviting all the ladies to the wedding. So they flash back to Karen, and it looks like Ray at some sort of a cake tasting. And, Karen says that she's on a reset, so she doesn't mind inviting Giselle. And Ray says, well, that's okay, but who do you think she'll bring? I guess her hairdresser. And oh my God, when I say I fell out when he said that because he was so honest, like you can tell there was no shade there. He was like, really, like, I guess she gonna bring that guy to be doing her hair. So Ashley goes on to say that, or ask if Giselle or Robin is coming. And, they're both like they're unsure. And we get a flashback of Robin at home. She's clipping her toenails, her son's toenails. And then Giselle's picking like a corn chip or something off the floor. Like totally ain't in no route to the Eastern Shore. So then they go back to the bar and Mia asks Wendy also if she knows that they're coming. And Wendy was like, probably not because they said they're uncomfortable with the host. So you know how that goes. So Candace and Chris, they make it and they see Mia first. And Candace is just not here for her. She calls her the big jolly green giant and says that this girl is going to put a crack in the foundation with them big old feet. Just can't. So they all meet down at the bar again. And Wendy again lets them know what the motto is GVO. And Candace turns up and says, and if you can't GVO, you can GTFO, and laughs hysterically. But Mia is just not impressed. She's standing back looking at her like, I hope that her husband manager is able to manage her and her attitude this weekend. So back in the car, Ashley says that she's really excited to hang out with G because she thinks he's really cool. He wasn't doing too much. He wasn't trying to overtalk anybody. And right then they go back to the scene of them all at the bar kicking it. And G's like telling them, I'm a strip club connoisseur. And Mia chimes in and says, yeah, that's where he met me. And Candace under her breath says, we know. It's like this girl she's so childish. She cannot help herself. It's pitiful. But G goes on to say, I don't need the strip club because, look, I got Mia. Plus, she has the interest. I just follow. Wow. Talk about telling your business. So Candace says in her confessional, well, you brought the strip club home. I mean, why would you care about the strip club? But G continues, and he says that basically he goes to the club and Mia be picking the girls out. So Mia, she lets them know, well, Mia, he likes white girls. He likes the Beckys with the good hair. Candace and Wendy, they make their little faces and turn their nose up. And Chris, he declares, well, I love black women. And Eddie just cheese and talking about, I love my chocolate, hugging on Wendy and whatnot. And so G yells, where the white women at? So Eddie is just so uncomfortable. He's looking to and fro, and he's like, what are we talking about right now? So G starts yelling, Eddie, Eddie, hey, hey, Eddie, Eddie. And he's making like this sexual pumping motion. Like, what the fuck? So then Eddie starts taking his hand, or not Eddie, excuse me. G starts taking his hand, and he starts making a stroking motion near his genitals. And oh my God, we find out that G is hung like a horse. And Mia was like, look, I'm a big girl. So, I need, whatever. And then in the confessional, Mia just says, look, G, I let him be G. And a lot of these young folks could learn a little bit something from him. Okay. She said that's her man and she gonna stick beside him. So Skylar and her husband arrive and they join them. They get down to the bar and they take their shot, and they are understood that the assignment is GVO for the weekend. Everybody, also is kind of whispering and discussing how, G is just super duper turned up. But Mia's like, G is fine. Y'all just doing too much. So G makes his way back into the kitchen, and he has some guy on the speakerphone from the dealership, and they basically announce that they just closed the deal for a G-Wagon. So, Mia, she's getting all excited and she's trying to get this set up, and G's like, hold on, wait, because I don't get many chances to tell you to shut the fuck up. So everybody, the record stops, wait, whoa. And Wendy's like, well, damn, if that's what he would say in front of everybody, I wonder, what does he say at home behind closed doors? But he ends up explaining that because of their, I think, 15th year wedding anniversary, he had got this for her and said she can get however she wanted, completely customized, tricked out. So he was doing something nice for his baby. So Candace and Escale, they end up going to a different room. They sat down and they talked. And she brings up, the similarities between Gordon and Michael, Ashley's husband. She talks about how, they have these ages, that there's significant gaps between their spouses. They've had, very, very, very successful careers. And now they're just kind of at these particular points. And then Wendy enters. So then Candace, she kind of continues on about it, but she says that she can see that things could probably go left in a minute if, G isn't corralled. So, they also think that something is amiss within their relationship between G and Mia. And Candace feels like it's a little bit of a daddy-daughter relationship. And Candace would know. Because she's very familiar with that dynamic between her and her mother. So, yeah, you would definitely be able to recognize that. Good job. So Mia actually comes in the room and she's like, oh, yeah, I ain't here talking shit. So, how you just feel when people talking about you. But, they did go ahead and, they kind of cut to it. And the Escalade was like, did G tell you to shut the F up? And so Mia, she didn't really see nothing wrong. She was like, yeah, I mean, what's wrong with that? You don't talk to your man like that. And so Candace was like, I mean, not in public. I mean, you don't do stuff like that in mixed company. So somehow they kind of get on this damn video shoot. And again, Candace brings up how she just didn't feel it was appropriate for her to be talking to her mother about the things that she was discussing about Chris being on the payroll and all that. But Mia says, hey, I showed up on the set looking for direction. I can't help it that me and your mother connected. I mean, she's a very nice lady. And honestly, she's somebody that I actually would aspire to and would like to look like or, be like in the future. So Candace was like, well, that's all great. But my mother didn't start in a strip club. And so Mia said, well, I made some really good money in that strip club, to which she says, yes, Gordon made it rain all on you. Whew. Candace wonders. She wonders why people be just swinging at that little bitty head of hers. But anyway, Mia goes on to, ask Candace, like, why can't you take constructive criticism? Like, you are just you're so turned up and it's just business. I'm just giving you professional opinions. And Escala is like, well, this is not a business meeting here. These are friends. And she's really like emotional. So I'm like, okay, Escala, you've been harboring something. I think she mad because Mia was like, are you the mediator last time? So again, that mother situation comes up and Wendy, she just asked her if she's okay. And Candace, because she got to have everybody rallying around her, she's like, what you checking on her for? And Wendy just says, well, at the last little trip that we had, I had 2 people on me at once. And now she has 2 people on her. So, I just want to make sure everything's okay. And Candace was like, well, damn, at my house, she had more than 2 people on her and I had her back. And she flashes back to when everybody was kind of attacking Mia in Candace's kitchen. But Candace starts to go on and talk about the girl feet again. And, Mia, she's like, yes, and God gave me these big ass feet. And Candace is like, yeah, and he made you basic as hell too. And it's like, Candace, you basic as hell too. How you gonna call this woman basic? So while all this is going on, the men are downstairs and they're basically just talking about how they, kind of hate how they can connect and the dynamic can be so good and strong amongst the men. But then the wives start to arguing with each other and it just makes everything so weird. But they all kind of say, look, we still going to be cool regardless. They beefing. We going to be like, hey. So they go back to the room and Mia gets a call from her best friend. And as she gets up and starts to walk out, she's like telling her friend how, I'm so glad you called me because you understand me. And as she's walking by, she's like, I just can't be friends with these broke bitches and people they don't understand. So then Candace, again, says her mother's a broke bitch and calls her a night crawler as she walks down the stairs. I am so tired of this girl talking about people's mamas. So Karen and Ashley finally arrive and Mia is super duper excited to see them. Like she's screaming at the top of her lungs because she's like, Karen's here and I feel like she gets me. So it's nice to have somebody here that's kind of in my corner. So Wendy then gathers them all up and lets them know that, in each room they're going to have a gift basket and it's going to be filled with things from all Black-owned businesses, including her candle line. And, Karen, she's just beaming. She loves it. She said, I'm just happy to see her growing. And I think that Karen truly feels that way, too. I really don't think it's no shade. So then they go on and basically she says that Karen and Escala will get to choose the rooms first. And the reason being is they were put in the cottage together. So if you remember on Candace's trip, the 3 of them were relegated to the little cottage. So then she says after them, it would be Ashley. Then after Ashley, it would be Mia. So that would leave Candace in last place. And Candace is absolutely pissed. So they all kind of disperse and start kind of, chatting and moving around. And Ashley starts talking to Mia about what's been going on. And Mia just lets her know that, Candace is just mean. And she's like, it just hasn't been the greatest because she's just a big meanie. And Candace, she, again, just has to, just a little child, has to get that attention. She goes on to say, I'm standing right here. I can hear you. So she walks over, walking up to the confrontation. You so scared and you so worried and you're crying all the time, but you always approaching trouble. But anyway, Escala, felt like, well, I'm going to go ahead and get into it too. So she's like, so did you call us broke bitches when you were leaving the room? And Candace was like, no, the real elephant in the room is that Mia needs to go to therapy because she has a problem with people who are not where she is. And Escala backs her up and says, yeah, it's classism. So Candace goes on to tell Mia that she needs to watch herself because she barely even made it in this club, in this group. You still trying to get in. So you need to bag back and calm down. So Mia's like, girl, I don't have to worry about making it nowhere because, honey, I've already made it. So they keep going back and forth. And Candace is like, go get your pimp. Where's your pimp? G, come get your hoe. So she goes and she gets her man, and he's with the shit. So they get up, they start, parading around the room, the kitchen, laughing, talk about, here's my pimp, here's my pimp. So as G and Mia try to leave the room, Candace takes a little bit of the salad that's on the table and throws it at her. So again, making physical contact with people. You're initiating physical contact with people, Candace. You can't do that after all that crying you did last year. But anyway, she goes and she throws the salad at Mia. And so Mia then turns back around and says, again, you can't be mad at me because you invited me to some low budget shit. So Candace again calls this girl's mama low budget. So at this point, you got Karen, you got Ashley. They all jump in and are like, you can't talk about this girl mama. You do not know her mother to be saying anything about anybody's mama out here. And it's just wild because Karen obviously knows the situation. Ashley just found out. Wendy found out, earlier that day. So really, Candace is the only one that don't know. And she's going to have egg on her face because she just will not stop talking about her mother. But anywho, in the middle of all of this, we have a little bit of a salad fight. So drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. If you were somebody that watched last year, it was a very polarizing season because we had Candace, who was in a situation who had a whole lot of mouth, very similar to what we are seeing in this season. And we had another cast member by the name of Monique, who unfortunately is no longer on the show. She did what most regular people would do that don't have cameras following. She showed her what the fuck she won. You want to talk all that stuff? Well, let's go ahead and get to it. And she beat her ass all up and through the winery. And then everybody went on all this stuff about how she downgrades black women. She's an embarrassment to her daughter. She's this. She's ghetto. She's that. But Candace does nothing but demonstrate ghetto behavior. No, you might not put your hands on anybody, but the way that you conduct yourself on TV sets black women back farther than Monique could have ever done with that little petty ass fight. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We definitely appreciate all the support that we have been having so far. Thank you for continuing to listen. Thank you so much for witnessing our growth. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I am Talia Tees, and thank you for joining me at the table. Be blessed.